Hi, this message will repeat in Spanish. El mensaje se repetirá en español. So today I was doing my radio program and we were talking about bicycles, okay? I have represented numerous people throughout the years that have been riding bicycles, some of them very seriously injured, some of them, having to have surgery immediately, emergency surgery, right after the accident. And so the reason I am talking about them is because, there's a potential when you're in a bicycle for a much more serious injury than when you're in the car, because obviously the car affords certain protections. So if you're riding a bicycle and you're riding them on the streets and on the highways, you do have all the rights and all the duties of a person who is driving a car, okay? All the responsibilities, you should be familiar with the laws. You have to, stop at lights, stop at stop signs, things like that, okay? You are supposed to ride on the right hand side, okay? And there are exceptions. You can ride in a bicycle lane. You can ride in a sidewalk, by the way. You are legally allowed to. But if you're gonna make a left-hand turn, there's a lot of exceptions, but for the most part, you are supposed to be riding on the right-hand side, trying to keep up with the speed of other cars. If you cannot keep up and there is a sidewalk or a bicycle lane, you really need to be riding that lane. If you are on the sidewalk, you have to yield to pedestrians, okay? And if you're going to pass them, you have to verbally give a verbal warning. So, most people shout to the left, to the right, that kind of thing. So it's very important to do that. You do have to wear a helmet by law if you're 16 and under, okay? Your parents cannot authorize you legally to not wear them, okay? You can get a citation for this. You also, between sunset and sunrise, you also have to have lights, a white light in the front, a red light in the back. It has to be a certain strength. If you're not wearing them, you are subject to a citation. And a lot of times with these equipment like helmet and the red light and the white light, if you don't have it at the time that you were given a citation and it's your first citation and you bring proof that you got it, okay, that it's installed, then the first time the court will dismiss it, okay, by law. After that, no dismissal. You don't get any more freebies. So, be very careful. And these things are, again, obviously for your safety. If you're at a stop sign, and you're in a group, and, in this area, there's a lot of people that ride together in groups, especially I've seen them in the Tarpon Springs area. But, this bicycling is obviously a great sport, a great hobby. And something that a lot of people do because they don't have alternative transportation or they don't have a driver's license. So if you are in a group and you reach a stop sign, you have to obey the traffic law, which is stop. But when it's your turn to cross, up to 10 bicycles can cross at a time and the other cars have to wait. So in other words, if they can't just say, okay, one bike crossed, it's my turn now, as it is the case with cars. You wait, one car crosses, now it's my turn when you're in a 4-point intersection, right? Well, you cannot do that if it's bikes, it's up to 10. No more than 10, the rest of them have to wait their turn for the next round, okay? And the other thing is that Florida law does allow for you to have an e-bike, electric bike. The motor has to be 750 watts or less. And there's, a couple of other rules about that. So you should definitely familiarize yourself, or, give me a call or put some comments here and I'll give you more details. But if it's in excess of that, it's probably going to be considered more like a motorized vehicle under the moped and other laws that we have. So make sure that if you do have a motorized bike, that you are complying with that. Otherwise, you would have to have insurance, which you don't have to have with a motorized bicycle. Okay, with an e-bike that complies with the Florida statute, you don't have to have insurance. Okay. However, interesting enough, if you are involved in a motor vehicle accident and you are on a bike, okay, the car insurance of your household, okay? A lot of times it's a child, 16, whatever. But even if you're not, even if you're an adult, I don't have a car, or I do have a car, but I'm riding my bike. And there's someone in my household that has a car. That car insurance will have to cover up to $10,000 of any medical bills that you incur due to, due to the accident. Okay, so that's very interesting. And that it'll be different if you actually end up being in a moped. So again, be very careful that you're following the laws correctly, and you'll have all the protection you need. And obviously, if you are injured in an accident, and it is the fault of the vehicle involved, then there are other things that you can, you are entitled to compensation and money, besides your medical bills. Okay. Also, if you are riding a bike, I meant to say, with reference to your medical bills, if you're riding a bike and you don't have a car in your household and you're struck by a car, then the car that strikes you has to provide that coverage up to $10,000 in medical bills, whether they are at fault or not, because the portion of medical bill payments, which is called PIP or PIP, is regardless of fault. Okay, so very interesting. You have some rights just like someone else would. You also have some duties, some responsibilities, so take care of yourself out there. And now I'm going to talk a little bit in Spanish. Estábamos hablando de bicicletas porque hay muchas personas en esta área que usan bicicleta como un deporte, como algo que le gusta hacer simplemente. Y también hay personas que lo usan como su modo de transporte, porque no tienen un vehículo, porque se les dañó el vehículo, porque no hay mucho transporte público, porque no tienen licencia, ¿ok? Entonces es importante saber que uno tiene que seguir todas las reglas de la carretera cuando uno está en una bicicleta, que uno puede usar la acera, que uno puede usar las líneas de bicicleta designadas, pero si está en la carretera debe mantenerse a la mano derecha, con algunas excepciones. Una de ellas, por ejemplo, es si va a doblar a la izquierda, ¿ok? Tiene que obedecer todas las leyes. Eso quiere decir, si llega a una intersección y hay un stop sign, tiene que pararse en el stop sign, ¿ok? Pero si es un grupo grande de personas que están montando bicicletas juntas, como suelen hacer en esta área, en Tarpon Spring, he visto muchos grupos grandes, deben hacer su pare, y cuando es su turno de proceder, pueden proceder 10 bicicletas, ¿ok? Los carros tienen que esperar por 10, ¿ok? Después de 10, los otros tienen que esperar hasta que vuelva a ser el turno de ellos y los otros carros han tenido oportunidad de cruzar, ¿ok? Sí, yo he visto que pasa mucho más a veces, pero la ley dice otra cosa. Entonces, aunque no importa, quizás cederle el paso y dejarlos, si los otros carros están dispuestos a permitírselo, eso es algo chévere, pero lo que estamos hablando es del requerimiento de la ley, ¿ok? Los cascos para personas menos de 16 años son requeridos, ¿ok? Si están en vías públicas, en acera, montando bicicleta en un área pública, exceptuando si es una área privada, eso es diferente. Y también algunas ciudades y algunos lugares crean espacios donde las reglas no son iguales, y hay menos reglas. Y en esas áreas las reglas que pertenecen son esas reglas. Pero si no hay un espacio específico así como ese, entonces son las reglas regulares de que tiene que tener el casco, de que de noche, cuando está de noche, tiene que tener una luz blanca en la parte del frente de la bicicleta y una luz roja en la parte trasera, que tiene que emitir cierta cantidad de luz. Eso lo puede mirar en el estatuto o llamarnos si tiene cualquier pregunta. Muy importante, porque hay muchas personas que resultan con lesiones muy graves. He representado personas que los llevan de emergencia al quirófano después de un accidente de bicicleta, tienen mucho tiempo de rehabilitación, y obviamente sabemos que a veces hay cosas peores. Así que por favor cuídense, obedezcan las leyes, póngase en su casco, aunque tenga más de 16 años, es mi recomendación. Y nos vemos pronto. Recuerde que siempre estamos aquí por ustedes en aquiporti.com. Gracias.